Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Declassified. Today is going to be an amazing episode. We have a lot of stuff to get to. A lot of clips, probably more than I've ever really pulled. Some longer clips than we normally would play, but this is good. It's escalating, and every episode's getting better and better. So I want to thank all the VIP subscribers. Thanks for subscribing, and also thanks for supporting, checking out the Declassified podcast, the VIP show, all of that. Now today, we're going to dive into something that's going to be a little bit of a stretch for some people. But remember, the whole point of this is to open up your mind, show you some of the other things that are potentially in the world. Now that being said, we are going to be going over ghosts like we always do. I've got some shadow figures, objects moving, but we're also going to be talking about the earth and maybe some of the things that are in the earth and maybe some mentalities and things that could potentially be hiding right in front of us that we've just grown so used to and kind of, disconnected from the earth in a sense where we're not seeing some of the things that are really going on around us. That being, we're going to talk about, like I said, the earth kind of being alive. We're going to dive into the world of pixies or fairies for the first time, which for a lot of people, that's kind of something that's hard to believe, right? It's something in a fairy tale, but that's really all we've ever seen. I've got evidence and we'll talk about it. Then we're also going to be talking about some forms of UFOs and some weird noises in the sky. And also one of my other biggest fears, the black market. But it's not necessarily the black market. So buying haunted objects off of the black market. We're going to dive into that, and I'm going to show you why that is just as scary to me as a Ouija board. And I actually have some evidence. We're going to break it down as we go. So a lot of clips to get to, but it's going to be fun. So it's going to be fun. Spread the word about Declassified and all of the new subscribers. Welcome to the show. It's really cool to see all these people, joining and jumping on board. So that's why on the VIP members, you're going to see newest subscribers and things like that. We're just doing little shout outs. That's all. That's what we're doing. So let's head over here and let's take a look at our first video. This first video comes in and it is something that is slightly terrifying because it's a mystery. And I think it's always going to be a mystery until we get to whatever that higher place is and can ask certain questions. Now, I don't know if any of our listeners have ever experienced this. Weird noises. I'm not talking about the weird noises where you're in your house and you just hear like a creak or, I don't know, worst case scenario, like a door shut, something like that. I'm talking about noises in the sky or noises coming from Earth and you just don't know where. I'm going to give you an example. So this is going to be a video that was taken at night in the wintertime. Clearly, that's snow. It's coming from a sewer. This is a noise that's coming from a sewer. The guy doesn't get in and look for it, which frankly, I don't blame him. But you're going to hear something, and I'll kind of point out the moment that we need to target and pinpoint. But check it out. Here it is. Okay. Now, there's a couple minutes where it's just kind of nonchalant. He's just kind of recording. You're going to see a car go by here, obviously. Now, you're going to start hearing some noises. That crunching is him walking on the snow. That right there. Now, I'm going to pause it, and I'm going to go back. You're going to hear some crunching, and then you're going to hear almost like a loud, wailing. Like, it doesn't sound like someone crying. Now, when I kind of analyze this, and I've listened to it a few times, I'm going to play it more for you guys. It doesn't sound human. Like I've heard female apparitions and spirits cry, things like that. We've heard it on this podcast, but it doesn't sound like that. It doesn't sound human. Take a listen. Kind of eerie. Now I've got to ask, like some of our listeners, like you go out and you hear this coming out of a sewer. What are you doing? Like, more importantly, what's the mindset you're going to have? So one thing, I think this guy's doing a great job because he's obviously not running around freaking out like, oh, we're going to be invaded by aliens. Like, I hate when people do that. But you also have to think, what would you be thinking in this scenario? So here, like I said, I played that. So now you've gotten a good listen. That doesn't sound human to me. I have to automatically jump towards the conclusion. Okay, are there any kind of working mechanics or gears or anything that could be rusty that's metal scraping below in the sewer? Maybe. I don't know the answer to that. I've never been in a sewer, to be completely honest. So it could be that, or let's go the mechanical. It does kind of sound like it's metal scraping, maybe an animal in pain, but I'm thinking more towards like metal scraping. Now, if that is the case, that doesn't mean that we're out of the woods as far as paranormal. Let's say we go with the theory that some people believe UFOs and aliens are actually not in the sky, they're below us, whether that's in the water, under the ground, living under the earth at its core. Let's say that's that. Are we hearing some kind of extraterrestrial activity going on below in the sewer? But it definitely sounds like metal on metal to me. Like just something, it's rusty, it's scraping. Doesn't sound human. So I don't know. That's one. Now, listeners, kind of what do you think on that note as far as noises? Do we think that it could be mechanical, extraterrestrial? Or are we thinking that it's a ghost or, some kind of cryptid that's out there? You look at like New York and places like that, and they have actually like long had stories of alligators and things like that living in their sewers. So maybe it's one of those. Or what if it is a cryptid? Okay, now one, I would never suggest, like if I'm hearing that from a sewer, I'm not actually going to go and chase after it. So I'm just telling you right now, not necessarily that I'm scared, but one, I just don't want to get into a sewer because that's probably going to be real smelly, real nasty, all kinds. I'm not looking to play that game. But let's say that it is a cryptid. What cryptids could it be? Well, there's one, and I was trying to match up different sounds and kind of what could be related. Check this out. This is something, and we've talked about what a tulpa is in the past, but a tulpa is basically something that people on, I'm just going to say Reddit, want to be real so bad that they actually will it into existence. Now, we've talked about Slender Man, that was a tulpa, and we've talked about the Wendigo, that was a tulpa, and then another one was the Rake. We haven't really talked about the Rake yet on this show. So, this is another noise that kind of came out of nowhere, but this time the investigator went and they actually followed the sound. Check it out. That's nuts. Now I'm going to pause right there and we're going to kind of go back. It was a real brief glance. All this noising, and it kind of sounds almost like some kind of monkey or just something like that, like a growl. Not quite a laugh, not quite a cackle. Definitely not what we heard coming out of the sewer, but it was some kind of very animalistic noise. But what we saw was not very animalistic. Now take a look. I'm going to go, we're going to play, and then I do believe they're going to show you some replays. This is kind of scary when you're talking about in the woods, you hear a noise, and or if you've ever heard a noise like this and could not figure out where it was coming from. Now right there, I'm kind of pausing on it, and we're looking right here where my mouse is. That is what was making the noise. Kind of scary. Now what we're looking at right here, and I'm going to go full screen, is we are looking at a humanoid figure, so that means it's kind of in the shape of a human. I can see kind of a head right here, it looks like it's got its arm up on that tree and it's kind of over a rock. Now, whether or not it's a human, I would say if we're going to try to go towards the scientific side of things, that could be some kind of animal with mange. That's been reported a lot for the chupacabra, things like that, is dogs that have mange, which is basically where their fur will just in patches kind of fall out. But I don't know if I've ever heard a dog or any kind of creature or animal make this kind of sound. So it continues. Let's keep watching. It's making a noise. The guy's got his flashlight on it. Starts to back up. Yeah, and then he decides to get out of there, which probably is not the worst. Now, when we pause it right here, this is more or less what we were looking at. Okay, so further away on the left side of the screen, you see what this creature was kind of in the distance. That was what the video showed. On the right, once we zoom in on it, now we start to kick it up another level. So I'm looking at a really skinny arm here, but it almost looks like he's up on the tree, kind of like this. One arm on the rock, and then he's just kind of looking, making this noise. And I say he, humanoid figure. Like, this does not look like any animal that I've really ever seen. I don't know about the listeners, VIPs, let me know. And if you don't know, you can actually comment if you're on a computer. I'm still trying to work on it with the phone, I think. But there's a comment box on this video. So comment, let me know. Do we think this is an animal or do we think this is a cryptid? And I'm leaning more towards the side of the cryptid. And we talk about the sewer, it ties into this. What if there's something like this in the sewer making that noise? Now we're kicking up the element of, okay, that's a little bit more scary. What creature could this be? Well, kind of, if you know any research or if you've kind of done any research of any kind, this looks very similar to some of the reports that come in about a rake. Now, right here, they're going to say, was this the mythical skin crawler or like Nightwalker or Nightcrawler is what they're saying. Skinwalker could be another one. I'm not thinking so. So what I'm actually thinking in this scenario is I'm thinking rake. This looks like what a rake is supposed to. Now, traditionally, when this tulpa was kind of thought of, it was something that would prey on humans. That is like its most known trait, is that if you see one, get out of there quick because it will prey on humans. Now, this is one of the only real clips that I've kind of seen where I'm like, okay, this kind of looks legit. I'm going to show you another clip in a second, but let's watch this again, and then we'll move on to the next rake footage that I have. Kind of crazy. And again, let me know, listeners, let me know, do we think this could be a rake, or is there some kind of other cryptid or something that's coming into mind here that I'm missing? So this was probably the most real evidence I've seen of, okay, this could be a rake. This seems believable to me in my mind. Footage looks good, looks genuine. Reaction seems okay. Now, I'm going to go to another clip. This is another one of a rake, and this is a real quick clip, okay? So think about what we just saw in the woods. Now, let's go to another sighting or another claimed report of a rake. And I'm going to kind of go full screen. It's real quick. Here it is. Let's take a look. Now, the one thing, and that was literally it. Now, the one thing I want to say about that clip is think about the noises. Okay, 2 separate clips, and those are posted in different years, by the way. But the noise that rake makes is the same noise that we heard in the woods just a few moments ago.
YouTube.
It's kind of nuts. That's kind of crazy right there. Now I'm going to go and I'm going to try to pause it in a spot where I can see what's going on as far as the rake. All right. Okay, now I'm going to pause it. Ooh, that actually gave me chills. I didn't expect to get chills off of this one. I've seen this a lot of times, but I literally just got chills down my arm. That's the first time that's happened this episode, and on a rake clip. All right, so I'm going to go full screen. What we are looking at here is this figure that my mouse is on right now. Think about what we saw in the woods, okay? So the noises, they're similar, right? If not identical. In the woods, we saw the creature where I said it was up on a tree, on a rock, but it was gangly, and it had no fur, nothing like that. It looked very similar to this. Now, when we take a look at this, I'm seeing a lot of similarities. I'm seeing skinny arms. I'm seeing no features really. It's kind of just white and pale. It's also it's kind of similarly positioned, like almost identical, except for it's not on a tree and a rock. Noises were the same and kind of all of that. So 2 sightings of a rake. Rake, again, this is a scenario where now you have the rake going after the camera. Remember, one of the biggest traits about a rake, if you want to do some research, it's actually R-A-K-E, I believe. You'll find a lot about it. And it literally, it hunts humans, is kind of the theory. Now, as far as US, I don't hear a whole ton of reports, but once you go overseas, you know, that's another one when we were talking about jinns and all of that. I do hear a lot of reports come from overseas. Now, again, whether this is, you know, a rake or not, we have 2 cases where now we have similar humanoid figures, and they look almost identical.
YouTube.
Okay. Now in there, they book it, they get out, which is the right move there. Okay. Now again, listeners, let me know what you think. Could that be a rake? Are we kind of onto something here, or kind of what are we looking at? Now in this next one, this is a clip from overseas. It is a camera that is not very good, kind of like most paranormal footage. What if it's not a rake? There is another creature that is overseas where it's very similar to a rake, except for its purpose is not to hunt humans. Okay. I forget the name of it. I probably should have looked it up, but we're going to think, okay, cryptid creature, that's where we're going. So what if what we heard and what we just saw, we saw a rake, but what if it's this other creature where the purpose is no longer to hunt humans? Now there is a creature that looks very similar to the rake that cannot be seen with the eyes. It can only be seen by the person who controls it. And what its purpose is it goes in and it will steal stuff from people and bring it back to whoever, you know, wanted that possession or whatever it is. So it, in no way does it really hurt people. Its sole purpose is just to go and steal things, or it does the bidding of its master, more or less. But it looks kind of similar. Now, let me break this down. If we were to turn on the audio, and I couldn't find one that didn't have commentary of it, but there is 2 people on the floor playing guitar. Well, sorry, one person playing guitar, which you're going to kind of see right here. And then there's someone sitting next to him. And then what happens is on the right, a creature crawls in through the door. The person on the, like our side using the camera can see it, but the people that are actually there in the room can't see it. And then it's in a different language, but essentially what happens is the guy who's got the camera is like, I can see something. It's right behind you. It's right behind you. The reason that I put this in here is because when you see this creature, I think it's going to look a little similar to you based on what we've learned so far. I'm going to go full screen on this. Now, we're going to be looking over here on the right side of the screen. We look at the right side, the camera's going to kind of pan, and you're going to start to see something that's going to crawl into the screen. Now, the 2 people who are here can't actually see anything. Ooh, that just gave me chills again. But it starts to crawl in. Now, the person who's holding the camera is literally like, it's right behind you, it's right behind you. And now you start to see the people that are playing the guitar, they turn around. They can't see it. Like, they're not freaking out whatsoever. Like, you've got to imagine if you were to see this crawling in and right behind you, you would freak out. And oh man, that gave me chills. I just don't like looking at the eyes of these kinds of things. But again, this is something that is overseas, it's claimed, and this one right here. Now, the purpose of this creature, this is a little different than a rake, however, very similar in stature. This is the one where it basically, its purpose is kind of to just come in and steal stuff and then bring it back to its master, and then it doesn't really harm people, I guess, unless the master wants you to be harmed. But it's interesting. So when you kind of go and look this up, the story behind it is only the person who's got the camera can see it. The people who are there can't see it. And then they, you know, the person's trying to say it's right behind you, it's right behind you, and they don't acknowledge it. So are we onto something? Is this a rake? Is this kind of going towards that direction of kind of paranormal? And then it scoots right behind them too. So I'm going to keep moving though. What if that thing that was in the sewer, that noise, wasn't a cryptid? What if it was a spirit? Now, I'm also kind of curious too, what if that thing in the woods wasn't a cryptid? What if it was a spirit? What if it was a ghost? We didn't get a clear look at it, and we do not truly know what all of these noises and all of these things could be. So I'm going to throw another theory out there. Let's say that it's not a rake or it's not one of these cryptids that are kind of out there in the woods that we can never catch. What if it's a zombie? Okay, I know that's kind of crazy. I literally just dropped zombie on you. Okay, here is a clip. Now you're going to notice that dead bodies, they get pale. Okay, anytime you see a ghost or true apparitions, what's the common thing that I don't like looking at, listeners? Pale faces. It's the white pale faces. This clip is a funeral. Now you're going to see some people crying right here. They're going to pan down to the coffin that is getting put into the ground. And you're going to notice something. I'm not going to ruin it for you, but I'm going to play it full screen. We'll go down and we'll break it down.
Telah bersabda dalam kitab Yohanes, Akulah kebangkitan dan hidup. Barang siapa percaya kepadaku, ia akan hidup walaupun ia sudah mati.
All right, now, did you guys notice what I saw? Okay, I'm going to play it one more time. I'm going to give you guys a chance to notice it. Again, kind of training you to look for some of these things in videos, and then we'll talk about it after we play it one more time. So let me go back to where the clip starts. Here we go.
Bersabda dalam kitab Yohanes, Akulah kebangkitan dan hidup. Barang siapa percaya kepadaku, ia akan hidup walaupun ia sudah mati.
All right, now let me break this down for you. You're going to hear people crying. The crying that you're hearing in the video is not a ghost. Okay, I want to be clear. This is like literally a funeral. They're putting the coffin into the ground. The crying is actual people. So I want to be clear on that. So let's not get misconceived on that side of things. But what we do notice, okay, as they scroll down, and that talking you're hearing is the pastor or whatever they'd call him over there, reading the words or whatnot. But as it scrolls down, we are looking in this glass window. In this glass window, again, you wouldn't be burying someone with all these people crying if they're still alive. You are going to see a hand kind of shoot into frame, like right there. So I paused it. That this one is really, really creepy. I think the only thing creepier than a hand would be a face, but right here, the hand, it just kind of, it comes in. I think this is a hand because what I'm seeing right here is kind of the arm, and then I'm seeing a thumb, and it kind of goes up into kind of like this range. So I'm seeing the arm, the thumb, and then it kind of goes up into that range, which is what you're kind of seeing right here. So as they're crying, you know, they're delivering the eulogy and all that stuff.
Dalam kitab Yohanes, Akulah kebangkitan dan hidup. Barang siapa percaya kepadaku, ia akan
That's a creepy
hidup
one.
walaupun ia sudah.
That one is slightly creepy. So again, the hand just kind of moves over, and I guess if we were to go kind of the scientific method of it, people would say, okay, what is it? Rigor mortis? That's where your body kind of stiffens up, right? And your joints could move. That's where you get sometimes people sitting up in morgues. I don't know though. I mean, you got to think that it's not like this person just died and then, you know, they're 5 hours later putting him into the ground. So we've got to be open to the possibility of, is this whoever, family member, waving goodbye to everyone or trying to, right? I don't know what the possibilities could be here. It's crazy. It's nuts.
This is the creepy.
Okay. So yeah, I'm not going to go into the audio. So with this, again, full screen, we're looking at it. The hand kind of waves in and then zooms out. So another zoomed in version of it. Hand comes in. And I am going to pause it right there because that is a better look of kind of what's going on. Take a look at that. That's real close up. And I'm saying that's the thumb is in my mind. Now, I guess let me break this down. If I was laying down on my back and I was kind of like this, that would be my left hand. So that would be accurate to where the thumb would be in a hand. So again, is what we saw in the woods, is it someone who kind of got out? They're like, nope, don't want to be in a casket anymore. And they just got out and now they're walking through the woods and that's what your body looks like. I don't know. Possibilities, right? Possibilities. This one's creepy though. When we go to authentic or fake on this one, I'm thinking this one's real. There's no reason for it not to be real, really. Now, when we talk about other things and kind of noises, I showed you, and what this all started with was a noise that was coming out of the sewer. But there are a lot of other reports of noises that come out of the sky and just from the earth in general. Take a listen to this. This was a news station that kind of talked about it.
Just have a listen to this. So what are you hearing? Well, we don't really know. The strange sounds were heard across Terrace, BC early yesterday morning and lasted for about 10 minutes. Speculation about what caused it ranges from the aurora borealis to aliens, or it could just be a prank. But similar sounds have been recorded in other parts of BC and reported in other locations around the world.
Okay. Now, this is not a new occurrence. Now, it might be new for some of our listeners right here. Noises are happening all over. And I think they were spot on. So these are some of the similar theories. Some people think that, okay, it's a cloaked UFO. And those noises, like I said, from the sewer, is that extraterrestrials and like alien civilizations underground and we're hearing the mechanics of whatever they've got going on? Or are the sounds in the sky here, are those cloaked UFOs? Like, is that what a UFO or a mothership sounds like, and we just can't see it because it's cloaked? Okay, so those are very, very good theories that are out there, and it could possibly be those. Or it could just be the Earth kind of acting in weird ways. There's a lot of things that the Earth does that we just don't understand. Now, for example, there are a lot of people, and if you go back to like Native American cultures and things like that, a lot of those cultures believe that the Earth is alive. So I'm going to show you something. Let's kind of dive down that path a little bit. Is the Earth alive? What can the Earth do? What can nature do? In Earth, let's say clouds, right? I would consider that nature. We have a lot of UFOs that we automatically assume are mechanical, or they're from like a different planet, or they're the green skin, big head alien creatures, right? But we also have a lot of UFOs that go unnoticed because they're not your typical shiny silver saucer flying through the sky. Like this one I'm about to show you. This one is kind of being related to a jellyfish, I guess. And the theory I want to throw out there, so this is a UFO in the sense of someone was filming it in the sky. They had no idea what it was. Technically, that makes it a UFO. But the theory that's kind of out here that I want you to think about, what if this is, yes, a UFO, but it's not an alien in the sense of like a mechanical saucer. It's an alien in the sense of what if this is like a living being? And the closest comparison I can throw out there for you that you're about to see is, what if this is like a sky jellyfish? I know that sounds weird. Take a look and you'll get it. You'll see. Now, for all of our listeners, we are looking at this little white thing right here in the middle of your screen.
Crazy.
Now he starts to zoom in on it, and you're going to see that it's not a solid form. It's not a cloud, though.
It's a fucking cloud with lights in it.
Yeah. Great commentary, dude.
Weird. I've never seen no shit like that.
The other thing, too, is it's changing form, right? It's changing form. And kind of like the guy said, it does have lights in it as well. So as we kind of zoom into this, that's why I'm like, jellyfish, kind of? Like, you know, we do have some jellyfish. When you go deep into the ocean, a lot of those fish have lights and they illuminate in some form just because of their surroundings and things like that. Is this thing alive? Like, definitely UFO, but are we talking like, is this a creature, a being? Does it live? What is it?
Cloud got sparkly lights in it. I've never seen no shit like that. Moving weird.
Now, the great thing about this video is he actually films it for a while, so it's not something that's just quick and gone.
Lights in it. Never seen no shit like this in my life.
And then it eventually goes behind a building. But what they're going to do is they're just going to give you a couple more looks at it. And that's what I throw out there. So as we go down that road, okay, Earth, nature, sounds, is this capable of producing any kind of sounds? If so, is it just high enough in the clouds where we can't see it, but now that's what we're hearing and that's what that news story was talking about? Are things like this in the sewer where it was making noise and that's where that noise was coming out of the sewer? We don't know. It's crazy. But I do want to open your mind to this is another form of UFO. And we just don't know if it's a craft, or if it's a living thing. And if it's a living thing, is it from space, or is it something that we just haven't discovered on the planet yet? So again, things to just think about. And I don't know the answer to this one, but what I will tell you is I definitely think this clip is genuine. So let me know what you think, VIP listeners. Is this alive, or what is this? Or do clouds have lights in them? I don't know. I might be wrong. Maybe clouds have lights. So next one, this is crazy, okay? This is the Earth doing crazy things, and it's still on the same line of what we've been talking about. Is this extraterrestrial, or is this just the Earth being alive? I'm going to play this, and it's during a thunderstorm. You're going to see something. You might not know what it is, but we're going to talk about it after, all right? So this one's crazy. I really, really like this clip, but it's piggybacking off of what we just talked about.
Oh, this is really funny. Look. What is that? What is that? Isn't that weird? I say, hope I got that on video. The lightning was right there, and that's what happened after lightning.
All right. Now, I think that video goes on a lot longer, and we are going to watch more of it. Hopefully you guys all noticed, right? Like at one point during a thunderstorm, like a green thing just shot up into the sky. What is that? Okay. Here's where it all kind of ties together. Is this nature? So you got to think in a thunderstorm too, there's a lot of energy going on, which is the same concept to why during a thunderstorm or during rain, you could potentially have more paranormal activity because there's more energy in the air, all of that. So is this something where the Earth is reacting and there's just a lot of energy and this is kind of an Earth phenomena? Or, and we're going to break it down in a second a little bit more, but or is this extraterrestrial? Okay, now we're going to take some facts from this video and tie it into what we've already talked about. So you're going to see in a thunderstorm, okay? Remember back to some of the other episodes, we've talked about UFOs being right above us where we can't see them, or paranormal things where we can't see them until we put up a camera. And then for whatever reason, it deciphers whatever that is, and then it kind of exposes it so we can see it. This was one where the clip where the person who recorded it stated that they couldn't actually see it when they were looking into the sky. They could only see it when they were looking into the LCD screen of their video camera. A couple other things. Thunderstorm. Think about the sounds. That's where this all started, was just sounds. When that green light shows up, there is actually a sound. And then I listened this time with my headphones on, and that same sound when the light shows up also goes again a couple seconds after the light is already there. So let's tie it together. Is this, now this person was filming, but if they weren't filming, now they wouldn't see the green light, but they would still hear the sounds. Are these examples of where those sounds are coming from in the sky? And if we were to put a camera up, in the right spot, would we be able to see something? Okay, so now it's all coming together, but now that you know that information, pay attention, and I want you to go back and watch again. You're going to hear a noise, and then you're going to see the green light go up. Now, what that green light is it extraterrestrial? Is it a UFO? Is it the shape of like the bottom of a UFO? We don't know. Or is it the Earth just doing something crazy?
It is really funny.
It's right about here. Did you hear that? I'm going to go back one more time. So right before it shows up, it's a weird thing. It's almost, again, like a metal scraping sound. Just listen. That was it. Let me go back a little further. It's nuts. That's nuts. And I don't know what this light could be. I've never seen anything like this.
Look. What is that?
Now, if I kind of pause it here too, the other thing I would say is this light is kind of right here. You guys can all see that. But around it, you can almost see something else. Now, I don't know what I'm trying to say that is, because I genuinely don't know. But I'm just saying, there's something going on here, right? And I would be very curious to see if there was other instances of this kind of thing in the world.
What is that? Is that weird? I say, hey, I got that on video. The lightning was right there, and that's what happened after the lightning.
And see right there. Now it's already up, but after they're talking about the lightning, that same noise that was at the beginning, it happened again. That metal scraping noise.
The lightning.
Right here. It's like somewhere here. Alright, maybe I didn't go back far enough.
The lightning was right there, and that's what happened.
Okay, here it was. Sorry, I didn't go back far enough. Here's the sound. So it's already up, but you're gonna hear that same sound again.
That on video. The lightning was right there, and that's what happened after the lightning.
Right there. So I don't know, man. The world does some crazy things. Now, let me know. This is one that I'm very curious. VIP listeners, do we know what this could possibly be? And please don't, I know someone's going to say the bat signal, but I mean, really, even if it was a spotlight, you would see the beam, you would see something, and, it doesn't quite look like this. So let me know what you guys think it is, and we'll kind of move on to the next one. As far as the Earth doing weird things, if it's not mechanical, if it's not extraterrestrial, let's go the path of, is it the Earth? The Earth has lots of secrets, and most of it is still undiscovered. Here's a video. Now, there is a very scientific explanation for this, but some people believe that this is evidence that the Earth is alive. Kind of cool, right? So obviously, I think everyone saw what was going on there. Some people believe that that is kind of proof that the Earth is alive in the sense of it really does look like it is breathing. So the same way that you and I would breathe and kind of our chest would go up and down, it looks like this forest is doing the same thing. And I think really for me, the crazy part about all of that is it's not just like one spot. It's like the trees are moving. Everything is moving around it too. This one I would say is more just it's a cool clip that I wanted to throw out there. Or is the Earth really alive and we just don't know it? So again, that's one where I think that goes back to your background. Some people would say, yeah, this might be one example of, okay, there is a scientific reason behind it, but I still believe the Earth is alive. And then it ties back into that other creature where the guy was like, it's a cloud with lights. Okay, is that another thing that's in the Earth that we just don't know about? So there's so much out there. Like, for example, fairies. Okay, fairies live in the woods, right? Well, so you would imagine. This is a video. This is probably the first, and it's gone viral a few times, the first claim of fairies being caught on camera. Now, you're going to see a dad recording. I think it's 3 daughters. They're going out, and I think they're looking at apples or oranges or whatever. And it leads them into the woods. They notice something weird. I think the daughter points it out first, and then you'll see what happens, and then they run away. We will pause it, we'll break it down, but I want you guys to watch it first. Check it out. Remember, we're talking about fairies or pixies or whatever.
Oh, wow.
Big apples. Very big apples.
Are they still on it?
There's a
They
few,
all fallen.
some there, and some there. Most of them are on the floor. And
Oh, yeah.
What's that? Yeah.
Oh, look.
What's what?
Where?
There, look. Right up there. Insect or something.
Is that an insect? Let's have a look. Look at it. What is it? What is it?
I don't know. I don't know. Oh my god!
Oh.
And then they start running away. Okay, so I think we all kind of saw that. Let me go to where it kind of all kicks off, which was 126. Okay, so the daughter initially says, "What's that?" And the dad's like, "What's what?" And then they look up. That's where you see what looks like a dragonfly until it comes off of the tree. And then it, I don't want to say attacks, but it starts flying towards them. Let's check this out.
More on the floor and
Oh, yeah.
what's that? Yeah.
Oh, look.
What's what?
Where?
There, look. Right up there. Insect or something.
Is that an insect? Let's have a look. Look at it. What is it? What is it?
I don't know. I don't know. Oh my!
Okay, now I paused it right where we can get kind of a good glance at this. Couple things. Anyone who watches this, even myself, the first thing that we're going to throw out there is CGI. Someone edited that into this shot. Other thing, though, is we need to take a look at the video itself. This is an old video to the point where not everyone had Photoshop, not everyone had Final Cut or whatever. This was like clearly VHS style, and I'm looking at the edges of the screen as far as it's an old camera. So in order to CGI, which I still think is a possibility, but in order to do that, it's going to be much harder on any type of recorder where you actually physically have the tape. Okay? Not saying it can't be done, but I'm saying that adds a level of, okay, this might be something. Now let's take a look at the creature itself. This, what we're looking at right here, are wings, very dragonfly-esque. The only thing is I'm seeing what looks like a head right here. Kind of looks like two legs down here. Now, I don't know. Is this a different type of breed of dragonfly, or maybe a dragonfly got its tail split? Possibly. Or is this a fairy? It's kind of crazy.
Oh my god!
Ugh.
All right, now let me go back a little bit when it flies out. Let's take a look.
Oh my!
And there it is again, another full screen shot of it. You know, I see a head, I see an arm, I see legs. Let me actually, you know what? We haven't done this in a while. Let me slow down and go kind of frame by frame. We'll look at this a little slower. All right, here. This is what it looks like. So once it kind of comes off of the tree, you're going to see it flies. And, you know, at certain points, it seems like it does have more than one arm. Kind of right there, too. Kind of crazy. Watch again. It's going to come off the tree. I'm seeing kind of does look like a head. At points, two arms, two legs. And those are the two legs that we're seeing right there. So, I don't know. This is one that's, for me, I'm going to go, I want to believe this. It's a little harder to believe, a little bit more fairy tale-ish, but I also have an open mind to things like this where I think, who knows? Maybe we just haven't discovered them, you know? Interesting, right? So it kind of, they run away. I don't think it chases them. I don't think it really follows them. So we're going to go to another video. Now we're still talking about fairies. That video, I was like, okay, it might be real. I mean, it's old enough to where it'd be really hard to CGI something in. I was like, if fairies are real, there's got to be more claims of sightings than just this one. If they were truly real, someone else somewhere would have claimed to see them. Now, when I went online, I found a lot of clips of people finding fairy houses, but anyone could build that. Until I found this guy. This guy claims that he hangs out with the fairies. Never, I'm going to leave that joke alone. Here's the video.
So this is a good spot. We're further down. It's a little bit damper, unfortunately. I'm getting a bit of a wet bottom, but it's worth it because this is a good, comfortable, apart from that, comfortable place to sit. And you can be seen all around, so I can see sort of get a good view, but they can spot me. And if I stay here rather calmly for a...
Now what he's referencing right there is fairies. Fairies can spot him, and they're curious creatures.
For a while, I'm hoping that they'll come along and see what I'm up to.
All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to skip forward a little bit because I also have it time-stamped on when he actually starts to see some fairies. Let's see. If I go towards about 6 minutes is where he kind of starts to actually claim that he's about to see a fairy. So what I want you guys to do is take a look at this footage. We'll break it down. But I'm going to play it, and then we'll go back and we'll analyze it, all right?
Okay. He's not there. Oh, sorry about that. He was doing... Oh, there he is. Okay. Let's... There. Well, at least we've got a shot of one. We just keep it up there.
Did you guys see it? Okay, I'm going to go back. It was about 6 minutes or so, and it's going to be up on this cliff right here. Now, if you guys missed it, a little tiny fairy gremlin looking thing kind of runs up to the edge. And now a couple things. Remember what we looked at as far as realism and kind of not being real? In the last clip, it was an older video, so a lot harder to CGI. I want you to take a closer look at this little creature. This one, and because of how like 4K almost this video is, now I'm thinking, okay, so we have someone who doesn't look like he would know how to edit, but maybe that's the case in this scenario. But I did find this clip rather interesting. So you're going to see right up here, something starts to run up to the edge.
Oh, sorry about that. He was
right there.
Oh, there he is. Okay, let's there.
Now, I'm going to pause it, and we're going to kind of go here and analyze it. So again, like I said, I'm looking at this right here. It kind of looks CGI, but it doesn't. I don't know. I'm going to lean towards the side of it's more CGI than possibly it's real. But I don't know. You know, it's so this is one of those things where we just don't know the world enough. That looks CGI to me, but maybe it's not. I mean, there's a lot there. The only thing I don't like about this is...
There he is. Okay, let's... there.
I mean, the camera is slightly moving. I was looking to see if it got perfectly still. It doesn't. I mean, the camera is actually moving a little bit.
Well, at least we've got a shot of one. We just keep it up there.
I don't know. I think on this one, just like some of the other clips that I've shown before in the past, I want this to be real, but I just can't say that I think this is genuine. There is a lot here that's a red flag to me. Now, we're going to move on from the fairies and things like that, and we are going to go to a Dibuk box. So we've talked very openly about what I don't like in my house, what I would never use, what I don't want to be around. Ouija boards. There is something else that is kind of trending that people are doing, which is an incredibly stupid idea because I have more clips to show in other episodes. You can order these boxes that supposedly have demons or spirits trapped inside of them off of the dark web. Now, if you order one, I guess technically you're still safe as long as you don't touch it with your bare hands or anything like that, or open it up. If you open it up, you're going to get some activity. Now, this is nuts, okay? I want to go through this whole thing because this really could change some people's opinions on paranormal. And there's some things here that are really hard to set up. We're going to break it down as we go, so check it out.
So you're probably wondering, what is a Dybbuk box? Apparently these are boxes with demon spirits trapped inside them, sealed with candle wax, and they're being sold on eBay. Now, what are the chances that these things are real?
Okay, now I want to say that I think not all of them are real, but I do think you might get a couple that would be real.
Probably slim to none. I tried talking Bree into joining this video with me, and if you're familiar with my channel or you've seen our dark web mystery box video, you know how she felt about being there in that situation.
No one gives a damn.
So you probably understand why she didn't want anything to do with me checking out a demon box being sold on the internet. Alright, first things first, what would a scary video be without the head cam? Let's light this candle.
Which I'm on board with what he's doing so far. All right, so I think once we get into this, you're going to see that a lot of the same techniques I do. So he's got an EMF meter, things like that. So he's going to almost be investigating it, which is why I like this video over some of the others.
Now the mood is set to be nice and spooky for you guys. I'm pretty sure this is fake, but there's always that what if in the back of your mind. What if there really was a spirit captured and I have it sitting in my house right now? I also received a little letter inside the package, so let me read this to you guys so you can get the full understanding of what happens when you order one of these items. Dear buyer, thank you for your purchase. This Dybbuk box was put together by a practicing witch of the black arts. Please be warned that tampering with a Dybbuk box can result in demonic attachment, so I highly recommend if you are buying this item, you are adding it to your collection and not tampering with it. People who have opened...
Which I think some of those elements are true, right? So we've talked a little bit about witchcraft on this show. Those have been practices, and there's some things like there. You have good, and then you have like dark. So so far, this is seeming potentially something that could be real.
Dybbuk boxes in the past have had results affecting their personal lives in many negative ways. Please be aware that Dybbuk boxes are not toys. They contain evil, dark, and dangerous energies to have around you, your household, or life. Even bringing it into your home can cause unexpected activity, occurrences, and attachments, so please handle these items appropriately. It is unknown what spirit or demon was trapped at the time of the ceremony, so please take this letter seriously. Please do not open. From the Hunter of Souls.
So that part is kind of weird. I'm on board with him. That's kind of a weird way to label that. But the rest of it, I do believe, are practices that could actually take place. Now, think about the movie, and I'm going to go there. Think about The Conjuring, right? So that is based on some real events in the sense of there is a house where there is all these haunted objects. Now, you're not supposed to touch them with your bare hands because whatever's in there could transfer from the object to you, and that's kind of how possessions take place. So I think some of those concepts are real enough. Now let's watch this video and see if we think that this video is real.
Ooh. Alright, so here's what's gonna happen. So the first thing that I'm gonna test out this box with is a EMF detector. This is a ghost meter, but it actually does detect electromagnetic frequencies, electromagnetic fields. So I've tested this out. It works on the light switches on the wall. It works on like plug outlets. This thing will pick up electromagnetic energies, and if you're holding it in the air, if it starts beeping while it's in the air, it's said to say that there is some kind of electro energy around you, and that's what's making it beep. All right.
Okay, I like the way he phrased this. This is exactly what I've said over and over. So actually, it's funny, if the promo that I did for the Declassified podcast that I just uploaded like the other day, while I was recording that, I was in a graveyard, and I actually had my EMF meter turned on in my pocket because as I was recording that, you know, if something was going to go down, I wanted to get alerted, but I also, you know, so that's the same tool. Mine looks a little different. But yeah, same tool. And I like that he phrased that it's energies, not a ghost. So all that is when your EMF goes off, it doesn't mean that there's a ghost. It just means that there's a concentrated pocket of energy. Now, that energy could manifest something, or a spirit could draw energy from that, and then you could get some paranormal activity. But good explanation. So far, I'm still on board.
Guys, so this is actually my first time trying any of these tests on the box. I wanted to include you guys and do it at the same time with you. So let's give this a shot. Let's see if it picks up any kind of electromagnetic readings out of this box. So here we go. The meter is now at 0 on the EMF reader, and I am going to scan around the box. And if it starts beeping, that means that it's picking up some kind of electromagnetic energy.
Okay. Now let me break this down. So what we know so far is that there is a spirit trapped in the box. So in theory, if that spirit's trapped in the box, you wouldn't be getting any readings. And I don't know if anyone would have picked up on that, and if you did, it wasn't to insult your intelligence, but just to get us all on the same page, he shouldn't be getting any readings right now. So far, I'm still on board.
Nothing so far like I assumed. It's pretty much just a box. So that's pretty interesting.
So that's kind of interesting. Okay. Now, I am going to tell you one red flag that I don't like in this video. There's a lot of jump cuts. Anytime you have a jump cut, if his camera's in the same spot here, we don't know how long it's in between cuts. Okay? So I think we need to be skeptical of that. But so far, I'm still on board. I want to believe this. But I'm just saying, realistically, anytime you have a jump cut, if it's done right and the camera stays the same, you'll never know the time frame in between jump cuts. So I'm just letting you know, when we're looking at evidence, we have to do it logically and realistically. So that's always a possibility, but I'm still on board as I want this to be real.
This thing is very accurate, and I am a little bit nervous right now because it's reacting to this box. Right there, right there. It's like dead center in the box, and the thing that's really like creeping me out is when I move the box away, it stops detecting it, so I know it's not like any of my camera equipment or anything. Check this out. Stopped. And when I put the box closer, there it is again.
So all of that seems accurate, right? So if there is something in there, maybe it's so strong that it's kind of bleeding through where there isn't wax on the box. Like he wasn't getting anything on the top, but then he did start getting some stuff. Interesting.
So that means either there's some kind of electric current inside of here or some kind of technology that could be making this beep, or B, there is actually some kind of energy. Well, there's definitely an energy coming from this box. Oh, and you know what? Let me show you guys like underneath the table so you don't think there's like something stuck to the bottom.
Red flag number 2. There was a jump cut before he said under the table.
Or B, there is actually some kind of energy. Well, there's definitely an energy coming from this box. Oh, and you know what? Let me show you guys like underneath.
That's a jump cut. Okay. Now, I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying.
The table so you don't think there's like something stuck to the bottom of the table. That's why I got this thing on, so I can let you guys see what I see.
So I do appreciate that he's doing this, but I would have liked to see no jump cuts.
So
what I would have done is I would have put my head cam up in the top right corner and kept a constant shot.
1 out of 2 so far gave me some kind of result. It doesn't mean that it's a demon in the box. Doesn't mean that there's a spirit in there. It could, but as of this moment right now, I'm just going to assume that there's something in the box that would be triggering the EMF. I'm very curious as to what is in the box now.
So possibilities. We don't know what's in the box. So someone could have actually put like even like anything electronic in there that would be giving off a signal, right? So he's about to open the box, which is a terrible idea. But in the box, technically he's right. We don't know if there's something in that box giving off that kind of frequency to set the EMF off. But the scary thing is, if there's nothing in the box, what did you just let out of the box? So it continues, and we'll find out.
Not 100% as to whether or not I'm going to open it. I'm going to try the next test out. More than likely, I'll probably open it because I really don't believe there's anything that's going to haunt me from inside this box. That's just me. But I do want to know what's making the EMF detector go off. So, all right, next up, we're going to try the good old spirit box for a moment here. Hopefully you guys can see.
I don't think we've really talked about this a whole ton. I am not a big fan of spirit boxes. I do think they work. The only time I am really convinced by a spirit box, and what that is it's, think about if you were on your radio and you were to just turn the dial and scan through all of the different channels over and over and over. What it's doing is it's scanning so rapidly that essentially anything that's paranormal could pick up on one of the frequencies and say something on that frequency. But it's scanning so many, that's oftentimes why you just get one word, a couple words, if you're lucky, a sentence. That's what a spirit box is. The problem with that, the same way that any kind of paranormal activity or entity could talk over those frequencies, you could get interference from, say, a walkie-talkie or whatever as well. Say you're doing an investigation and there's a neighbor, a punk kid, finds the frequency you're on and starts messing with you, right? So I think you do have some cases where the paranormal evidence is justified by a spirit box, and we'll get into some of those videos. There's one specifically where like spirits will say what's about to happen and then it happens. I think those are justified, but I also think I'm not a big fan of like downloading an app on your phone and then using that as a spirit box, because I could program an app to do whatever I want. So randomly every 5 minutes it says a random word. So spirit boxes are okay. This one's probably more legitimate because it's not an app, but still just be careful. Just keep all of those things in mind.
You're on the overhead view. What's going on? Just turn this guy on.
Okay. So he's going through some tests. Says that 20 minutes in order to...
Are you angry that you've been locked inside this box for so long? I heard something right there.
Okay, that was legit. Okay. That one, it was a deep voice. And that... Okay, so here's where the video, as much as I said there was red flags, it's really hard to fake that kind of deep voice over a spirit box. It's easy to cause interference, but it would sound like his voice or it sound like a human voice. That sounded like a deep voice, all right?
If this is a spirit trying to communicate, do you want to hurt people?
That one kind of gave me chills because I'm wearing headphones, so it was like right in my ears. That was right behind me. That one was a very deep, and again, consistency in those two different voices is important, and it doesn't sound like a human voice. Ooh, that gave me chills. This episode's giving me chills.
That was pretty clear.
Okay, so he goes on. Now let's go to the next step of this video, all right?
I heard some whispering. I'm definitely going to have to analyze that in the post-editing.
I still kind of have chills from those EVPs in my ears.
But I did ask it, if this is a spirit, do you have intentions of harming anyone? And I heard a pretty clear yes. Obviously, when I edit, I'll play it back a couple times to see if we could hear it a little bit more clear. Okay. So now the big question is, what is inside this box? These radio frequencies, they're not really that accurate. It was pretty scary when we were in the Penhurst Asylum doing it. But, it's just scanning through radio stations. It's not supposed to pick up any radio stations, but there was definitely a lot of voices coming through on it just now. So I'm not really going to take that as...
I do kind of like the way he's analyzing this. Like everything I'm saying, he's kind of validating. There was a couple things in there where it did 100% sound like a radio station. But the deep voice, I would agree, wasn't a radio station.
It's like, okay, that means that something here is trying to communicate. But... there's definitely something in here. Can you guys hear that?
This is when I only started laughing because I'm just like in my head, like everyone watching right now is probably yelling at their phone, their tablet, their computer, their TV, whatever. They're like, don't open it. This is where that's leading to.
All right, guys, I can't take it anymore. I need to know why this thing is beeping when it's next to the box. I'm going to crack this box open right now, and we're going to take a look inside together and see.
Everyone's like, don't do it.
Beep. There's got to be some kind of technology in here. Hopefully it's not a bomb.
Which is a fair assessment. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, actually thinking that there is some kind of technology in there, I give him credit for that. Like he is very logical in his thinking. Now, whether or not he's acting, despite all of the red flags that I mentioned, he's kind of winning me over to the point where I think that we're kind of on the side of genuine here. I don't know. I don't know. Let me know, VIP listeners. What do you think?
Cutting the wax right now. Okay, the wax is broken.
Oh, no.
And it smells really bad.
Okay, I'm going to go back and I'm going to point something out that I don't know if you guys caught. So, the whole time that lid stays on that box, the EMF is going on. As soon as he opened the box...
Cutting the wax right now. Okay, the wax is broken. And it smells really bad.
Did you guys notice that? I know I kind of didn't finish my sentence. As soon as he opens the box, the EMF stops going off. That would be a lot harder to set up than it would be to set up the EMF to beep.
Cutting the wax right now. Okay, the wax is broken.
And the EMF stops.
And it smells really bad. Why do all these boxes that I open gotta smell like shit?
I can answer that. So, if you're in a house or you're doing an investigation, the smell of rotting flesh is often thought to be demonic. Now, the other thing too, in here, crystals like that, those white crystals are oftentimes used to capture spirits. So when you're doing like an exorcism, you'll see sometimes people will use it, or when you're trying to cleanse a house, people will use crystals like that. So there is a lot here that is seeming very credible. Now, you'd have to know like deeper kind of into paranormal and cryptozoology and some of the Wiccan stuff to understand it, but this is seeming kind of real.
There's a crystal in here. Is this what was making it beep? No? Why'd you stop beeping? Alright, so this thing is not beeping anymore. What the fuck? The air conditioning is off right now. That plaque has been there for a few months. Guys, there is nobody in this room except me right now. I mean, look, you can look all around. Here's my hands. There it is again. Whoa.
Now I'm going to kind of pause here. If you kind of can't notice, I don't know why it blacked out for a second, but the plaque that he referenced is on the wall and it is actually moving.
Here's my hands. There it is again. Whoa.
So the other thing too is, so now he's kind of investigating, he's kind of looking around, and everything. And there was one point in there too where I actually heard footsteps, like walking outside the door. I don't know if you guys picked up on that.
Yeah, fuck that. I'm out of here.
And then he goes. And then he goes.
All right, successfully in the car. I am heading to my brother Chuck's house for the rest of the night. I am not comfortable staying in my house at this moment in time. How do you explain that? How do you explain that? How do you explain the EMF detector going off? It was picking up some kind of electromagnetic field inside the box, and the minute that I opened the box, it was not picking up any kind of energy at all. My YouTube plaque started moving, like clear as day. It literally fell off the fucking wall. I can't come up with a logical explanation in my mind as to how that could have been moving.
Now, that's kind of where we're going to end this episode. I actually did have some clips that I didn't have a chance to get to. We're going to roll those over into another episode, but I thought that was a good one to end on because some of the other clips that I had weren't really as solid as that. That was a good deep dive. Now, we talked about some of the red flags, but we also talked about what potentially could have been real. Towards the end of that, a lot of what was adding up and kind of what was happening was real things that should have been happening if it was a genuine paranormal experience and paranormal phenomena. So let me know, listeners, what do you think? Do you think that was a genuine video? or whatnot. But I think, again, the part that won me over was when they opened the box and it stopped beeping, and all in the same shot, he picked it up and looked around. I think that lends a lot of credibility to that. And in the jump cuts, who knows, genuinely, maybe he paused and it was a long video and he was trying to shorten it. So I think I'm going to lead towards the side of I want to believe that. I do want to believe that one. Now, all the other things that we talked about, we had some good videos of the Rake, we had some pixies, we had just strange phenomena in the earth in itself. Potentially UFOs, if you want to categorize it as that. And then we ended it with the Dibuk box, or however you say that. So it's basically a box where a spirit is trapped, and then people sell them. Don't open them. Definitely don't open them. And now you kind of know why. But that will do it for tonight's episode. And we want to thank all the VIP members for subscribing. Definitely spread the word. Keep spreading the word. And we will see everyone on whatever episode you want to watch next, whether it's Declassified, the VIP show, or the After Hours show on Friday nights. I'll see everyone there, and I truly appreciate all your support.